So, yeah, after the unboxing and I saw that everything was good, I had to stop recording so I could watch the Sideshow unboxing to make sure I was putting it together correctly. I didn't want to do anything out of order. I gotta say, I'm loving this. I have loved that sculpt on this modern head since they revealed it. It's a combination of like classic comic and a little bit of ledger with the scars and the tears, and that darker, a little bit more realistic tone to the hair. The grayish green tone to it. I just love it. Went together pretty easy while watching the unboxing. The key on the pogo into the base was really tight. I had to kind of put a little bit of pressure into it. Once you find the right angle, it'll go straight in. Really, the only tricky part is lining the hand with the rest of the handlebar. But once that's in place, it's pretty seamless. The details on this thing are awesome. A little bit of styrofoam. The pose, I love the pose. It's very dynamic. It's very Joker. I could see him hopping towards Batman, getting ready to attack, or it's just classic clown prince of crime. When I was taking this out of the box, I was a little worried about these tails. The body is definitely polystone. You can feel it. I wasn't sure what the tails are going to be, but they're a little bit flexible. They are probably PVC, which I know there are some collectors out there that cringe anytime PVC is mentioned with a statue, but I think something like this, it's got to be made out of PVC, otherwise it's just going to break. If that had been polystone, there's no way that would survive shipping. Boots are awesome. The ha-has on the sole of the boot. Little metal tip. The detail's really cool. The folds and the clothes, the pants and the jacket are all really good. I like that. And obviously, there's details we've seen since they revealed the proto, but I like that his clothes aren't just pristine. They're patched together. They're sewn together. He's got tears. It was torn here, and he stitched it back up. It's torn on the back, out here by the base of the tails. He's got some cuts and tears along the arms. And the patches, he's got one on his elbow here. There's one on his right knee. I think that really adds character. I really like the detail of the knife belt, or the knife bandolier, I should say, that he's got under his coat, wrapped around his chest. The little Batgirl, plushie he's got pinned to his jacket. The base is cool. I like the concept of. Now, the way I look at this, when I look at this base, is that, he's hidden a container of some sort of the Joker gas behind this Gotham seal, and this is how he's dispersing it. He's dropping down on it with the pogo, and that's why it's pluming out from the broken pieces. It's just how I read the bass. Some of these, some of these basses people read differently. On the back side here, it's not really something you'd ever see, but the paint on these lower rocks down here, rock, concrete, whatever, is a little dull, and kind of, it's probably just because I'm catching shadow from the light above, but kind of blends into the gas above it. But I mean, that's a part of the bass you're almost guaranteed to never see. Doesn't bother me. It might bother some people. I know, some collectors out there, they like to do the mirrored backs, and they want every angle to be, displayable. It's not how I wouldn't want to do a mirrored back. I think it distracts from the piece when you have a solid color around it, and then you have the the purples and the greens and the gold or bronze popping from the black or even white. It draws your eye to the piece. When it's a mirrored back, sure, you can look at the mirror behind it and see the back of the piece, but it's maybe it's the artist in me, but I think of it as an image. Like you can draw the greatest figure you want, but if you put this insanely detailed background around it, and you don't distinguish that figure in any way, it gets lost. That's just my personal preference. I wouldn't begrudge anybody for displaying mirrored back, whatever. I love this head sculpt. I love the tongue coming out and going up onto the teeth. That had to be a pain in the ass to figure out. It is painted beautifully, though. And the paint on this head is just magnificent. It is pretty spotless. None of the pinks that are inside the cuts and scars, they don't really travel where they're not supposed to. The teeth are really clean. Well, painted clean. They don't look clean, because I don't think they're supposed to look clean. The eyes maybe decals. It could be painted. There are some really talented painters out there that could easily paint that. If they are decals, I don't care. They look awesome. The shading around the eyes is really good. It's maybe not as subtly painted as the prototype, but it's damn close. I hear other reviewers and other collectors say, if it gets to 60 or 80% of proto, we'll be happy. Just looking at this head alone, the way this is painted, I would say this is a good 85 to 90% of proto. I'm really, really happy with it. Looks awesome. Okay, let me put the exclusive parts on, which is the classic head. Again, painted just like the proto. Eyes are positioned well. They're not wonky. Again, they might be decals, but if they are, they're done really well. They look great. The teeth are painted great. The smile is classic Joker. Now, actually, one of the reasons why I didn't like the classic head by looking at the prototype was actually something that I think is intentional that I didn't maybe think was before, which is the skin around the hairline is kind of bled with green. Ooh, that's in there tight. Now that is either a really tight fit or a really strong magnet, because that did not want to come out. back to what I was saying about the hair. The skin, you know, it looks like the green has bled down into the skin. Now, when I was, and it's the same here as it was on the Proto. When I initially looked at that in the pictures, I didn't like it so much because it looked like it was just paint bleed. But now that I'm looking at it in person, this is done to look more like hair dye than a natural hair color. Because, you know, like a really poor dye job, the skin's going to get dyed along with the hair. And if you're not, you know, if you're sloppy about it, it's going to bleed past the hairline. So that's actually a nice little touch. This is a Joker that, you know, is presenting this way. You know, doing his makeup, you know, whatever. The seam, excuse me for my voice sounding a little gravelly. The seam on the classic head doesn't seem to sit as well. It's a little bit of wobble, and it doesn't sit as flush as the modern did. Excuse me, as the modern did. Yeah, when it's positioned for display, you know, looking forward, it's not something you'll notice. And like I said, the head, it wobbles a little, not a lot. It's not going anywhere. I like the cake. It's a good touch. The lettering on the cake is painted really, really clean. You know, no bad lines. No paint bleed. Actually looks like cake, which is really cool. It looks like cake and icing. You know, the fire effect on the end of the wick is what it is. They'll never be able to make it look anything other than like just a spiky ball of orange at the end of a stick. Any time that effect is done on any statue, the new Harley that I have, or even Prime One's 1/3 Harley, anytime there's a stick of dynamite that's lit, it all looks the same. It doesn't look real, but you know, there's nothing you can really do about it. Actually, I do like this setup, and I may use it from time to time. I definitely prefer the modern look with the gun, but the gun does add height. For the time being, I might not be able to display it. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Overall, I am extremely pleased with this. Yeah, the smoke resin on the base is done really well. It's painted cloudy, so it does look like smoke. Yeah, that's just a really cool effect. I dig it. So that's just my quick review, first thoughts of the Joker Premium Format. Anybody that has been thinking about this piece, I would definitely recommend it. It's awesome. Anybody that has it and on order still paying it off, you won't be disappointed when it comes in. I'm certainly not. I know every piece is different. They're hand painted, you know, but if most of the pieces are to this level, I think to me this whole thing looks to be about, like I said, 85 to 90% of prototype quality. I'm extremely pleased with this. Sideshow gets a bad rap a lot of time for low quality control, but I really do think, based on the pieces that I've gotten in recently, Captain America, Wolverine, Harley, the new Superman, Wonder Woman, which I actually had to return, but it didn't come in broken. It was, that's a whole other thing. But I loved that Wonder Woman. The face wasn't as good as the proto, but we all kind of knew it wouldn't be. Yeah, I really do believe that Sideshow, yeah, they're not Prime 1. They're not. I've never seen an XM in person, so I can't say, compare it to XM. But I have a Prime 1 piece. I've seen some others. Yeah, they're not the same high standard of Prime 1. But I think overall they're putting out better pieces, and that's just my opinion. I think quality is extremely high. On the pieces I've gotten recently. None of the pieces I've gotten in since I've started buying from them I've been disappointed in from a quality standpoint. So I guess I'm just lucky. I know there are plenty of collectors out there that have had bad experiences, but unfortunately fortunately I should say, I haven't had that experience. Been happy with every piece I've gotten from Sideshow, quality wise. So yeah, I really honestly think that Sideshow's on the upswing as far as quality. Unfortunately, that does mean higher prices, because as their demand for higher quality goes up, the demand demand on the manufacturers goes up. With every time I go on Facebook, I see a new licensed company, and all these companies, from my understanding, use the same factories. So as demand goes up, the price demand from the factories go up. As newer companies like Prime 1, or new companies like Queen, which they're very, very high end. But as newer companies pop up and start producing higher quality pieces, it forces Sideshow to up their game on quality control. And add that with the rise in price demand from the factories, yeah, the prices are going up. None of us are happy about it. It's a personal choice on what you are willing to pay. We all have that limit, and I know I'll get to mine eventually. But for a piece like this is worth every penny I spent on it. And I don't regret a dime. I'm very happy with this. And I know if you get it, you will be too. I'm going to stop rambling now, because none of this is why you're watching this video. You just want to see the piece, get my initial thoughts on it. And those are my thoughts. It's done really well. The pogo stick, the base, the figure itself. The way that the joint on the heads are designed, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, this one doesn't wobble at all. A little bit, but not as much as the other one. And the seam is definitely a little tighter. It's still visible, but all seams are. Yeah, if I can't do the gun for height, this will probably be how I'll be displaying it. I like the cake. Cake is a cool touch. Well, that's been my review. I think I might have said that already. As I do more of these, I'll get better, I promise. Yeah, keep collecting and enjoy the hobby. Thanks for watching.